The party looks to craft a bill focused on President Trump's legislative priorities. The president now pushing to create a new tax bracket, as we mentioned, for the highest earners in America. Under Trump's proposal, the wealthiest would see their tax rate increase to nearly 40%. Joining us now, one of the reporters who first broke this story, co-founder of Punchbowl News, Jake Sherman. Jake, great to have you back on the show. What more can you tell us about this idea?
Well, this is a late game edition, Willie. This is a ninth inning ask from the president to create an entirely new tax bracket for individuals making $2.5 million, married couples making $5 million. This would set that rate at 39.6%, which is the old top rate for top earners, which was phased out in 2017 when the tax bill was put into place. You know, I'm hesitant to say this doesn't have a chance because it might. I've been skeptical all along that Trump could raise the top rate, but he seems to be here setting it high enough that people would be hesitant to vote against it. We'll have to see if the leadership goes along, if the Senate and House go along. But a few notes on the politics, Willie, which is number one, this is a bill that has pretty steep cuts to entitlement programs and to federal spending across the board. So if you could find a way to take away the Democrats' argument that they're just raising taxes for the rich and paying for it by cutting spending programs, that's probably a useful dynamic for you. But again, this is so late in the game. They're marking up this bill ostensibly next week. So I think it's quite late. That's not a surprise for Donald Trump, who seems to tune into these things quite late. But it's a bit of a mess right now.
Jake, it's Ali Vitale. I wonder if you can talk a little bit about the balancing act that the speaker is doing here, because we know that's how they're going to actually figure out what ends up in and out of the bill. On this kind of a proposal, of course, it strikes me that it would earn the support of people who want to see the government be able to pay for a lot of what's in this bill. But talk about that balancing act dynamic. Who does this earn them? Who does this lose them on the Republican side?
Yeah, it's a fair question, which is that it will lose them. Quite honestly, it's a bit unpredictable, because traditionally the orthodoxy is that Republicans don't want to raise taxes on anybody, and they feel like this grows the economy to keep taxes low. And I think, to be honest with you, Trump could get the House Republicans to do effectively anything he wants, even break longstanding Republican orthodoxy. And I think the larger problem is this bill is all but assembled, and asking them to go back and to make changes. And other things Trump asked for yesterday Wednesday were closing the carried interest loophole, which is a very divisive topic on Capitol Hill, the way hedge fund managers get paid and get taxed. That's number one. And number two, create some sort of baby bonds program, or a savings bond for babies who are born in the United States. These are policies that if the White House really wanted, should have made part of their red line months and months ago, not 3 or 4 days before a markup on a piece of legislation that's just gigantic.
Yeah, Jake, let's just talk, though, about carried interest for a second. That is an issue, again, that is deeply divisive, not only in the Republican Party, but also you start talking to Democratic candidates. Most of their donors care very much about carried interest. The richest among us do not want the carried interest loophole closed. Talk about how remarkable it is that you even have a president from the Republican side talking about an issue that Democrats didn't even have the courage to touch when they were running the Ways and Means Committee.
That's right. And by the way, you'll remember that Joe Biden tried to do it and was rebuffed by his party in a pretty meaningful way. It's remarkable because a lot of people who benefit from carried interest, not only hedge funds, not only private equity managers, not only people in finance, but also oil and gas and people in industries kind of across the ideological and economic spectrum. It is remarkable, and I think it's so remarkable that it's going to have a really tough time getting through. I mean, remember, Joe, I want to just restate this. All of these issues, raising the top or creating a new top bracket, closing the carried interest loophole, these are legislative items that Mike Johnson and John Thune have both said they're not interested in. I mean, you are going against the leadership of your party, which is very difficult, especially, again, at this late stage of the game.
Rare are the occasions when they don't give Donald Trump what he wants. We'll see if that changes this time. Co-founder of Punchbowl News, Jake Sherman. Jake, thanks so much as always.